What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over older cards you're going to want for this format. So we're heading into BT-14. It's good to pick up some old cards now to make sure you have them ready for that BT-14 deck. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So first off, we're going to go over the Greymon. The Greymon of the set is one of the major chase sets. So as you know, this card is pretty good, so you're going to want anything that says Greymon in it, from Greymon X Antibody to Greymons that either give boost in inheritable, extra security checks, be able to play your ties down, you know, all this good stuff there. You want most of the Agumons that you're going to want are basically the Searcher ones, you know, stuff to help keep tempo and just keep your pieces going. You could definitely go with the Draw Koros or the Boost Koro, and you can either go black base or red base, your choice. All the cards kind of support nicely. You know, you can go for extra security checks with the red tie mem setter. You can go for more defensive with Yuyas and ties. You know, there's plenty of possibilities, and the thing is the top end switch up and how you want to go about it. You know, you could play Black War Greymon X Antibody with the new support. You can play Gaomon with the new support. You know, there's plenty of good stuff going for it, and the deck has a lot of potential. So stuff like even just the Metal Greymons for Metal Greymon X Antibodies, both of them play niche roles in whatever style of play. You know, you want Raid Metal Greymon. You possibly might want the one that can swing in, depends on the meta and format. You know, you have Metal Greymon Altarius mode. And, you know, all these good stuff here. I think there's plenty of value as you look at it. There's nothing too out of the ordinary here, and I'm very much excited to see, you know, you have like Hades Force is a great tamer removal. If the format goes too wide, you can deal with the tamers. There's a lot of possibilities at the end of the day how you can go about it. Definitely pick yourself up Greymon X Antibody, the virus one, at least because of the one-of clause. But there's just a lot of good possibilities here. I mean, the least of them you should probably pick up is this Metal Greymon. It is a possibility if you're playing black base, but that's about it. And, you know, X Antibody plus Cool Boy, you are still playing X Antibody style of play, so you can still take advantage of this tempo. So there's a lot of good stuff going. Then let's talk about Tyranomon, because Tyranomon is new in the set. It is a more green base, but it splashes red into it. So I figured because in order wise you would see this Tyranomon, you can definitely pick up, and especially with Rust Tyranomon Ace being in the set, pick up your Taigas, your Metal Tyranno, Master Tyranno, and, you know, Tyranomon from EX1, plus the BT-11 Tyranomon, and the Agumon from this set. So don't forget, there's also an Agumon from the set that you're going to want to have. It's a green Augie boy, but it's pretty cool. So this one helps out with the deck as well. So make sure if you're going to plan on playing Rusty Boy, you're going to want some of these cards here. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on that. And then let's get into blue. Blue is very interesting in this format. You basically are building the same decks. They're the same, except you tech in Digimon Ace, a Gomamon if you want to, and then Bakumon, or Bukamon. So while your opponent has no Digimon with equal or less or more Digi-Evolution shorts, this Digimon gains jamming. So this gets really nasty pretty quickly, especially for like Mirage, All Force, Amphi. You know, that jamming, being able to swing and not worry about anything, because Mirage and All Force are OTK decks. They love this card because as long as they have enough sources, they're usually, you know, being able to swing in with that jamming, and then they have nothing to worry about for DP threats in your security. So security bombs. Digimon Ace is just super splashable in every blue deck. You just find room in your blue deck. There's nothing about your blue deck that can't fit this card, just because of how powerful. On play, when Digivolving, trash 2 Digi-Evolution cards from under your opponents, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolutions to hand. This gets really scary against most champions or higher, because removing 2 key pieces out can make your opponent really have a bad day. You know, even in the fish deck, these 3 cards see play, and that's just kind of how that goes. Then we do have Patamon, or, you know, the new Seraphimon deck. So with Patamon here being one of the key backbones of this deck, this super rare here alone just makes a yellow extremely good. You know, starter main phase, look at your security. This Digimon may digivolve into a yellow Digimon with vaccine traits among them without paying its cost, then shuffle your security stack. If digivolved with this effect, you may place one yellow vaccine trait from your hand to the bottom of the security stack. So, kind of the deck's general focus is using your TKs, your Patas. You know, you're searching for vaccines, so you use like Patamon and the Patamon that can search out for Angel, Cherubi, Arthurian, Seraphe, Virtue, 3 great angels, and 4 great dragons. Just all great stuff here. So, I mean, you want to use all this good stuff. You have like Shadow Seraphe just to be a threat. You know, Rise Greymon because you want to play your TKs. There's a TK in the set that you want to play for free anyway, so you can play those. You know, you have like Geo Greymon. There is a Magnamon from EX01 that you could possibly play. Let's take a look at this. Where's the big boy? So, Magna here is another possibility. You know, just because if you have 3 or more security, this Digimon gets plus 4,000 DP until the end of opponent's next turn. When a card is added to your security deck, gain 1 memory. So, there's a lot of possibilities what you can do here. You know, Shine, Greymon, Ruin Mode's definitely a plus in this deck. Venusmon is definitely a plus in this deck because she's a vaccine. So anything vaccine really related you want to play. It's got a lot of potential. I'm not even joking. It's a very consistent deck. Then let's talk about it with Patamon and Magnamon Ace. Magnamon Ace being one of the big boys here. You can definitely play your decks how you want to go about it. But with Shine Greymon as well, you're just basically teching in Patas and making your yellow base go off here. You know, Setcon also wants to play Magnamon Ace here for the security recovery. It's just another copy of this, but way cheaper. Then you have like Kentaurismon wanting the Patas and Magnamon Ace. It's just quite useful. And then Mastemon wanting Magnamon Ace and Patamon just because of how strong it makes the deck a little more consistent and gives the power boost where it needed it. So definitely taking this in, you can definitely see a lot of potential. Then let's get into the plants. Plants have a lot going for it, especially with the new Palmon in itself. The new Palmon and like Lilymon Ace is just really solid, great power potential. You know, oh, I forgot Mimi. Like, how do you forget Mimi? Mimi. There we go. So, taking a look at it, like the egg you're going to be choosing is Kokomon because when an effect suspends one of your Digimon, draw a card. So you want to be drawing cards. Then you have like Palmon, revealing the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 4 among them. You could possibly play this BT1, but most of them are going to be set in stone with BT10s, Palmon, and Lilymon, and then you play the new Palmon, because they're both great searchers when they're on played, so they kind of get pieces where you need to. Or you can play this Palmon for the draw. You know, other rookies you're going to be thinking about is Pumu, because you shut off your opponent being able to play Digimon by effects. You have this Pumu that suspends, that combos nicely with Hydramon, or even just swinging in with Bloomlord. You have like Red Veggie, Weedmon, and Vegemon, both just very cheap evolutions, but Vegemon here is just to gain memory here from BT11. Sunflowmon basically being able to digivolve into a fairy type for cheaper, which makes Lilymon very much a cheap evolution. Sunflowmon just being able to play bodies, you know, all this good stuff. Cherrymon just being a cheap evolve. Blossomon, same thing, just cheap digi-evolution. And then you can play Argamon as well. And then you have a Jertamon basically being able to play free bodies and then gaining memory when an effect suspends. Then you have BT-13 Lilymon, so you may play one Yoshiro if you're going to go the Rosemon Burst Mode route. That's just a possibility there. And, you know, while your opponent has a suspended Digimon, this Digimon gains security +1. And then you have a lot of possibilities with, like, Bloomlord being able to pressure by swinging in. You got, like, Hydramon being Hydramon, just control variant. Quartzmon, your end-all, be-all. You kind of just lock things down. You know, you want hidden potential discovered as well. You have Rosemon Burst Mode, just if you're going to be playing Rosemon. You know, Mimi and Yoshino are both very powerful cards related to the deck, depending on what playstyle you go with. And then D Brigade here. boys and girls, it's pretty simple. You're going to pick up anything that relates to the Brigade. So Command Dramons, all of them, pick them up. Seal Dramon is a possibility if you want to play the deck. It just gives jamming and rush. Tank Dramon's just another bridge evolution, even though we got a bunch in the deck. You just have a way of just bridging. If you want to have just a one of Dark Dramon, kind of recommend it. It's just a good kind of, if you have 5 in the trash, kind of surprise swing in. You have like Dark Dramon here that's also from EX3. It's not bad. It kind of combos well with the new Greymon looking D-Brigade. Possibility is Quartzmon because you do spit out a lot of bodies. And so that if your opponent is, it kind of just locks them out. Death Axe is just a controlling piece. Ultimate Flare, just because option removal is great with this deck. Kongu, just to slow down any mirror matches and or any opponent trying to just OTK wide. Trident Arm, just to de-digivolve and then forces your opponent to attack. You can answer response that way. Pride Memory Boost, just because what Pride Memory Boost does. Then let's get into Filth. You know, Metal Etamon. So Filth got some support. Pagumons, you're going to want to get some Chumons. Anything with Chumon in his name, pick it up. Anything with Sukamon in its name, like Platinum, Sukamon from BT3, you know, Sukamon from BT11. They're all useful in this deck. You know, it's just, this deck is going to do what it wants to do. It's going to be an annoying little bugger that your opponent's going to have to deal with. You know, you want Etamon from BT11, King Sukamon from BT11 as well. You know, King Etamon from BT13 really does well. Etamon from BT11 does well. Death X, Cootie Kicks, Izzy's, Pride Memory Boost. It is a black deck at heart. Yes, it has yellow in it, but it is straight up black deck. So definitely think anything that would help this deck out in removal, it's going to want. Then finally, what we have going here is the last deck. And this is the SOC deck, which is Fenrimon's deck. So just keep this in mind. This deck is really one of the top contenders right out of the format. You want like Foscomons, possibly Dracmon. This is, if you're max raritying, avoid this pre-release stamp. It gets tossed immediately once we get to BT-15. Psychmon, Gaze, just really decent stuff. You have Gabumon for the draw. You know, Black Gato for rush. You know, Chimeramon. So with Fenrimon, you want to use double Black Gato, swing in for game. Kind of ridiculous amount of pressure. Death X is a possibility. Miss Memory Boost just to help consistency. Rival Barrage, if you mill out cards, it's just useful. Mad Ishida, just because when a card is trashed from hand using one of your effects, by spending this Tamer, gain a memory, you're going to be trashing effects. This will hopefully pass it back to your turn. And then you have Analog Youth doing the same thing. Basically, when your Digimon goes pop, you get to basically reset the turn, rebuild up a stack and raising, and just go off from there. So I think a lot of possibilities are with this set. I think a lot of it comes down to more or less Greymon has the most stuff you might want to be picking up for, but there's a lot of possibilities in this format, and I'm excited to see what BT-14 brings. So guys, hopefully hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!